interesting for me as well to hear about this process and these steps that you guys have created around this. Uh,
Yeah.
so I would love to hear more about, okay, say someone is interested in wanting to, because chances are someone's listening to this podcast, they're familiar with people who channel, people who are able to connect with high energies and transmute that information through. I've got a lot of friends who are channelers, and I've been around and received different messages and things like that. But I've always been curious about how do you connect with these and channel that information. Like, yes, I know, go deep in meditation, connect with my heart, raise my frequency, but you guys have been able to, really receive messages like loud and clear. So I'd love to know, if someone's interested in learning more about this, like, what are the first steps, and what's the kind of the prerequisite, or what are some information we should know going into this?
Absolutely, and you said it. There are a few steps before you or we attempted to channel information that were relevant to us, and I actually wrote it down and how to connect with that universal wisdom within us, because this information that we're going to share, it exists within all of us. So yes, we have to become aware of a few things before we attempted all this channeling. And one of the things is, of course, to become very clear. And people, of course, can be writing things down or recording this, but when you become clear of what your intention is, because everything in the universe is intention. If you don't have a clear intention, it's going to be really hard for your higher self to pull information, because it won't know what type of information you're looking for. Is like Google. You can just like tell Google, tell me something. No, you need to be very specific with the keywords. Tell me, whatever, and the information goes and gets retrieved. So it's the same with universal wisdom. You have to become very very clear on what your intention is and the type of information that you want to retrieve from you from within. So that to me is like number one, and that's
So
very
have a clear. Sorry to interrupt you there, mate, but have a clear question as to, okay, this is what I'm hoping to receive. Like, you have a question that you feel like you need answered. The clearer you can articulate that question and ask that, you're saying,
yeah. I
the,
mean,
the more direct. Yeah.
and yes, and even to speak that intention out loud. We believe in the power of the verb, of the word, and it is important to us. Not that it needs to happen for everyone, but we, when we sit on meditation, we speak out loud our intention of the day, the type of information we're trying to retrieve, and etc. Like many things, we decrete many things that we are that we're looking for to accomplish during that meditation session together. So that's
Yeah,
number
to
one.
to be specific about the type of information you would like to access, it's important. But mostly, you also have to be very convinced that this information is within already. Because to believe that you are going to get information out of a different dimension, a different universe, it starts to create separation in thinking, well, this information doesn't come from me, it comes through me. So it's a good practice to first know that we are all channels, so because a lot of people, they want to learn how to channel. It's important to remind everyone that we are all channels at all times. What you speak, what you think, everything that you say, it's connected to a frequency already. So if you're angry and anger comes out of your mouth, what do you think you're channeling at that moment? Anger. You're channeling that frequency at that moment in your own very unique way. It could be cursing, it could be just yelling. At that moment, you're channeling, right? So when people say, I want to learn how to channel, so well, you're channeling at all times. Sometimes when you are connected to an emotion like joy, everything that you say is like, happy, and people are just joyful to be around you because you're channeling this this energy, and it just reflects,
Just
right?
comes through, right?
Comes through. So to understand that we are channels at all times, it's a good way to start this process, because then you're like, okay, yeah, I am a channel. And to know that you don't need to learn how to channel, you are a channel 24/7. Now when you do it consciously, it's like when you breathe all day, right? Do you realize you're breathing? No, you're just breathing. Now when you start breathing with intention, then it starts feeling different, right? Differently. So
You can even activate your DMT through breath work
through breath work.
Right.
of ayahuasca.
Yeah.
So it's just the conscious part that we add to that channeling that seems like it's coming out of this universal wisdom, which is you. Okay, but we think it just comes from the stars or from the cosmos. So that was just adding to what my brother was saying. Yes, you need to be very clear, but clear comes with knowing that you are already the channel, and that you are not going to really learn anything, but that you are actually uh, you need to be very aware that that's who you are already, a channel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, that comes with validation, with self-validation. So that's why it's important to to learn to meditate, because meditation to us is a practice of self-love. So when you practice that uh, everyday interaction with yourself, you also have this realization of who you are. So having that practice of self-love and self-validation, it makes you believe and know that whatever you're going to channel the information,
Yeah.
what we actually say it, you're going to remember, because you are not learning anything new. You start remembering. That's why you have to be so
Right.
specific in what you're trying to
Yeah.
uh, to process, to retrieve, because it's a remembrance process. It's not like you're going to hear it for the first time. No, you start remembering, and that's the beauty. That's why it's important that what he's saying, we have all the information within, but when we consciously have a clear intention of the information we want to retrieve, we start remembering that. So it's a remembrance process. It's not new
Wow.
information coming through. So we hold it.
Because you're accessing this like quantum field where we're pulling all the information from like a web where it already exists. Is that what you're saying?
It's like me
Yeah.
asking you, Emily, like, what do you do? Not yesterday, but 3 days ago. I'm being very specific, like about 4 p.m. Like, okay, let me see. Okay, so you start like consciously connecting with that information, and you start remembering. It's not that you're gonna make up information. No, you're trying to remember information, the events, the date, the time, the process. So it's a remembrance. It's always a remembrance thing. It's never new
Right.
information.
And that same goes with, say, if someone's trying to manifest something in the future, you're trying to essentially remember or create a picture of what that future is going to look like, and accessing an energy that already exists. You're just remembering it. Yeah.
Mhm.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And another thing that's very important, it's to know that this connection that you want to establish, because remember that in the beginning I said that this is a process to connect with galactic energies or galactic beings or ascended masters, angels, all types of energies that we know of, higher vibrational beings, right? So the one thing I was reminded of is, before you try to connect to any of these energies, just to remember that you are one with those energies. Because the moment you feel, well, I'm going to connect with you, I'm going to connect with you, and you start believing that there is a separation, that you're not one with them already, then instead of making it easier to connect, you're making it harder, because you're thinking of separation. And the moment you realize that whatever being or energy you want to connect with, you want to connect with, already exists within you and not outside of you, it makes it so much easier, because then you realize that there is no like, please, I want to connect with. No, you're trying to access an aspect of you that is angelic, galactic, and of universal wisdom. It's all within. There is nothing. So, because people have asked me, how do I connect to the Arturians? How do I connect to my guardian angel. Well, just know that the connection is always there. Doing it consciously means to know yourself as one with that energy first. Because once you feel that that energy is you, in some way, it doesn't matter what way you used to know that that energy is you, is that's your very unique way of doing it. And we cannot tell you how to do that. But once you make that clear connection between you and any energy, then the connection actually starts.
Yeah, and again, it takes practice like every skill. This is a skill. It's not something that came
Yeah, it's
naturally
practice.
with to us. It's a skill that we develop throughout years. So I'm not trying to discourage anyone and say, "Oh, you won't do it after the third, fourth year." No, no, we're all unique, and it took us, a few years to learn first how to meditate and stuff like that. But what was imperative in our process was never to compare ourselves because, of course, just like people wanting to know how to channel, we wanted to know how people channel. So we were always reading and seeing how they did it. So what was important is to get rid of that comparison and say, "Oh, I want to channel like Matias De Stefano." No, no, I don't want to channel like Matias De Stefano. I want to channel like myself. So we stopped comparing ourselves with every other
Other
channeler
people.
and how they did it. Now we are only offering our own experience, but in the end, once we go within, you'll see that we're all going to develop a unique way to process this information and to make it work for each one of us. So we're just trying to offer, little tips here and there, but in the end, we're all going to develop a unique way to channel information, from within. So, but definitely removing that part, uh, comparing ourselves, totally works. So, and
And
the
just
last one,
just just quickly, sorry to interrupt you again, but just quickly, like once, like why do you feel it is important for someone to want to master this skill? Like what have you guys received since being able to have this skill to be like, yes, I can channel, I can access this information, you know, more on demand.
I'll tell you
What has it allows you to, yeah.
why it's important to us. I don't
Mm,
know why would this be important to anyone else,
mm.
because
Yeah,
just like anything,
fair.
what I do, it's important to me. And why it's important to me is, or to us, is because it allows us to understand that there are no masters outside of us. There is no guidance outside of us. There is there isn't anything outside of us, and that if we want to create any change in this experience, which is Earth, I needed to understand first how things work in my inside of me, because I had so many questions. And once we started to access what's inside us, that wisdom within, all this information start coming out, and I thought, oh, I'm channeling. Well, yes, I was channeling my higher self, but that higher self does not have one form. It also is an Arthurian. It's also an angel. It's also an ascended master. It's also a Buddha. It's also, you know,
well, let me put it
Gotcha.
in my own way. It teaches you how to trust yourself. That's why it's so important because you stop relying on people to to tell you what you should do or what you shouldn't, or to even the praying part. The reason why we pray to higher beings like Master Jesus or Mother Mary is because we have recognized them as the divine. But when you start channeling your own information and it matches what's in the Bible, what's in Course of Miracles, and conversations with God and all these other sources, and you see it's the same, this trust in yourself and the information you hold within, it sets you free. So of course it's important because you start trusting your intuition, and when you trust your own guidance, your own intuition, you are a free man. You become a free being. So that's why it's important. And yes, we should all learn how to become the source of guidance instead of, okay, so who can tell me and give me advice, and can I call this guru, and can I pay $100 for a session? Valid, but there's so much power, so much beauty, and so much freedom to access all the information you need for your daily life, daily. Because what I do today, it helps me maybe for the next day, but it probably won't help me. I mean, and it will help me for life. For all I'm saying, we do it every day because every day there's new information that we remember that. that is relevant for our advancement, for our evolution. So just to answer in simple ways, it sets you free.
And that's so beautifully articulated because that's what we're all searching for right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
freedom.
We feel like I've lost our freedom. And yeah, I'm so intrigued by this, guys. Yeah.
It sets you free from yourself, not from anybody else,
From the
not from the
government.
world, not from COVID, not
Right.
from, like he said, the government or from your parents or from your
Yeah.
culture, from yourself. You become free of you,
So
of
these are mainly the
self-judgment.
things to be considered before
Oh yeah,
you start channeling,
before.
you know.
Yeah.
So because again, it's been a process, and these are the things that we had to work on before we attempted to sit and then start doing it. And one of the other things that we always do when we want to channel information or we want to commit to it, it's to take care of our diet. That's super
Mm.
important. You have to be very hydrated. You have to drink lots of water. In fact, the times that we have been the most open, it's when we've done like liquid diets. You know, when we're so light that all this information flows through more easily because we're light. You know, there is no a lot of food being processed and things going on and heaviness and
Density.
density within.
Right.
So your diet is super important. Again, we're not discouraging anyone from eating meat, from doing having the diet their bodies need, but for us, having a very light diet, even a liquid diet, at least for like a week, it's it's been helpful. Very, like I cannot tell you how helpful that is. So the diet, and once we sit in on meditation, we start like again. If you're doing it on your own, well, then start tuning into your own frequency. How do you tune into your own frequency? Because it's easy to say, as well, yeah, how do I do that? Okay, so the first thing is start chanting, chant, chant an om, start connecting to your own essence. Start feeling your own frequency. How do you feel? Start feeling yourself, your vocals. Start breathing consciously. Connect to your breath. But everything that you do, start doing it with the intention to feel good, not to connect, to feel
Mm.
good, just to feel good,
To feel
feeling good,
grounded.
to feel
To feel grounded.
grounded.
The definition of what he just said means grounding in your own essence, and that means five senses. If you're listening to music, listen to the music, tune to the beautiful music, or listen to the crickets if you're
Nature,
in nature. Feel
turn on
feel the air,
incense, you know.
smell the incense. Like I said, like he says, your vocals channel, like chant some ohms, 3 ohms at least. Again, ground in your own essence.
Yeah.
So
And
that's
once
one.
you actually feel good about yourself, of course, already having the clear intention. Let's say you say, I want to connect to my Arturian essence, to my Arturian essence, not to the Arturians that live in Arcturus, to my
Right.
Arcturian self. Okay, that's feeling good already starts to make that connection with that aspect, which is your Arcturian aspect, feeling good. But then something that when I started meditating came out very strongly was there's a difference between questioning and doubting. Questioning is valid. You can question what is it, what type of information you want, and you can actually question that question by saying, okay, so what kind of information do I want? I want to know how to. I need guidance on how to write a book, so I want to channel that information. Okay, but then the first question that came after was, um, well, are you already writing that book? Well, no. So you want information on how to do it? Yeah. Well, have you Googled the information on how to go about writing a book? Well, no, but that's not what I mean. I want the experience. You know, I want to travel and to learn all these concepts to write this book first. Okay, where do you want to go? Well, I don't know, Egypt. Well, have you looked into going to Egypt? So sometimes our intention is so not clear, and we want
Right.
things like, and are you even doing anything already for that, or you just think that magically this answer will be like, bring, there is the information, you haven't had the experience, but here's the information.
Right.
So that's why being clear and questioning yourself about all these things helps you say, does this intention seem clear enough, or is it just me wanting to feel like I can actually connect something, you know?
But also, and added to that, trust the inner voice, if it is in the form of a voice or understanding, it's coming through, because you can say, oh, I'm totally making that up. No, you're not making that up.
Mhm.
At that moment, when the intention is clear, whatever is coming through is that's legitimate. So that's why trusting yourself is so important, because if you're going to start doubting of what the information is about that you are like processing, oh my God, I'm just having this conversation with myself like a crazy man. No, I mean, yeah, it might sound like that, but it's legitimate. It's legitimate information. So yes, asking the right questions to yourself, it brings clarity, because like he said, I want to write a book. There is a whole 10 questions you need to ask yourself how to write a book before you get to that. Now that you have experienced what he said, the trips, the this and that. So asking questions to yourself is so important, and trusting the answers you are giving yourself is even more important, because those are the actual answers.
And that was the difference between questioning and doubting. Questioning is valid, doubting isn't. Thinking that, oh, am I making this up? Like he said, that's not, it is valid. It shouldn't be part of it. So you can question yourself all you want, never doubt. And that's
Makes sense. So just to be clear, so far, guys, we've got keep the body light, stay hydrated, preferably a liquid diet. As you go into your process, start to tune into your frequency, either through chanting or making some sounds. And then, yeah, and then doing that with the intention of just feeling good, just trying to get grounded in your essence.
Yeah.
Then when you're in that, higher vibrational state, you're feeling good. Are you spending some time just like dropping in, quietening the mind, just quietening the chatter? And then when the mind is quiet, that's when you ask this question or set this intention,
Well, the
and
intention
then
should be
wait.
before. I mean,
Yeah.
you should already
Right.
have the question before you even
Right.
start.
Yep.
Your intention should be set, so you don't
Okay.
sort of waste time in the during the meditation trying to think of an intention. Should be clear since the beginning. All I'm
Gotcha.
saying is that during this process, uh, some, like, if your intention was to get guidance to write a book, which was one of my things, uh, I started receiving things like, well, why do you want to write a book? Have you gone through the process of studying or getting the information on how to do it? And I was like, well, no, because I want the trip. So, okay, have you booked your trips? Have you looked into so all this questioning started to happen during that time.
Yeah, sometimes it comes in the form of a Q&A, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, in the
Right.
form of a Q&A, and you have to answer yourself and question yourself and answer yourself. It's going on from within. And other times, it's just information that comes through. Since your intention is actually clear, as long as, like you said, you quiet your mind a little bit, the information comes through.
Right.
How soon, how fast? Well, that's gonna vary
And
from people,
yeah,
but
and
Gotcha.
this is why I stress so much that your intention needs to be so clear. So during the meditation, you don't spend so much time asking yourself these questions, because it has happened to me, and I was like, okay, my intention was not even clear, you know. So, but anyway, one of the things I received was also the form of communication. I asked myself, how am I going to receive this information? So before I was receiving the information, I was questioning, how am I going to get it? And the answer was very clear. It says, well, the communication will come in different ways. It will come in a telepathic way. It will come as a touch. It will come as a visualization, and as sound waves, or what you know, or by hearing voices. And I was like, is this the same process for me as it is for everyone? And that's when my brother was saying, do not compare yourself to anyone, because the way we channel, or the way Matias Stefano channel, or all these people that channel energies, we all want to do it the same way they do. So it's important to just know that you will receive the information
in your own
in
unique
your
way.
own unique way,
Yeah.
and that's
And by the
that.
way, just before we even continue, just know that this process is a process of feeling good. If you are not feeling good and you are like frustrated because you are not retrieving the information, you are not, you are sitting for the wrong
Frustration
reasons.
will
Kill it
Yep.
completely.
Cuts it
The
off.
number
Yeah.
one intention for everyone should be to feel good. Because in the end, whether you retrieve the information after you meditate or not, if you feel good, mission accomplished. You might get
yeah,
it in a dream after you go to
right.
bed. You might get it next day in any form that you
You
won't
might get it
even
within
think.
5 minutes.
Yes. But
Hmm.
again, make it about feeling
Feeling
good.
good.
That's the true
Got
intention.
it.
Yeah.
Because information sometimes I don't get it like right away, and then I go to bed and I have this dream that takes me into this amazing journey. Like, okay,
That was the
okay,
question. That was the answer.
this is the answer. So it might sometimes it doesn't even happen during the time you are sitting. So make it about feeling good.
Yeah.
So when you are feeling good, is it important to ask, how will I receive this information?
No.
Is that a good knowledge to have? Yeah.
Because let's say you answer yourself, always going to be a voice, always going to be like you limit yourself to only that possibility. So just be open to receive the information
In your
in
own
the
unique
best
way.
way. Yeah, in the best palpable way for you to know that's the answer. So yes, and that's a legitimate intention. When I receive the information, it needs to be noticeable to me. It needs to be
Clear.
palpable. It needs to be clear to me.
So there's no
Mm.
So
doubt.
there's no doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that I'm
Makes
getting the
sense.
actual
No.
information.
Right.
So just
Yeah, but you
trust
will
your own
receive it.
guidance.
No, the only reason why I was saying that in my case they said it will be visual and that by touch is because that's how I was going to receive it. But in anyone's like for you, for anyone else, might be in their very own unique way. It might also be in this way, but it might be differently. So yeah.
Yeah. Makes sense.
And the next, oh, go ahead, go ahead. I don't know if you wanted to.
No, that was all. That cleared it up for me. So just going in with that intention of saying, I am the space to receive this information in the clearest, most palpable way for me, and
That's perfect.
it will come
Yeah.
through. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. The other thing we were made very aware of this process was not to use any tools, no medicine,
Mm.
no crystals, no feathers, no amulets, no visual picture of an Arthurian, or you know how like sometimes we think we need all these tools
Extra
to
help.
make
Yeah.
the connection happen.
Yeah.
You won't need any tools unless you recognize yourself as the tool. It will never happen. I mean,
Okay. And does this include like sage, Palo Santo, essential oils, even just
well,
simple things like
if
that?
you want to use sage, Palo Santo, any oils, do it because you like it,
Right.
not because you need it for the connection, because you
Gotcha.
like the smell. Again, it's about
Mhm.
feeling good. Make it because I really enjoy the smell of Palo Santo. I honestly do, but I don't think it's gonna make the connection for me. But it's something I really enjoy.
It sets a mood.
It's just a mood.
Sure, it sets a
That's part
mood.
of creating your space.
Yeah.
Now, if you have crystals because you like crystals around, well, just don't get a crystal and start rubbing it on your third eye, thinking that's gonna do the trick, or put it on your heart like these stones that sometimes they say, oh, this is a starseed stone, and if you put it on your heart, you're gonna feel the connection. All these things that we give so much power to, we don't need, or like you don't need for this connection, because it actually makes you believe that without them
It
there's
won't
no
happen.
connection.
Makes sense. Yeah. Okay. So that includes, all plant medicines, like anything that's going to take you away from realizing that
It's all
you are the connection. Yeah. Okay.
exactly.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And again, there are some words that I even repeat myself just consciously. Like I give permission myself. Uh, I give myself permission to flow. It just came through like a mantra that I wanted to say. I give myself permission to flow. That
I like
means
that.
be free, just to flow like the river, like, just to flow. And in that flowing, there's so much freedom because you're like, you know what? I just want to flow. Like whatever comes through, and I just let it go because sometimes you get stuck with all this thinking. Oh, why am I thinking? No, it doesn't matter. Just flow with it.
Beautiful. Yeah, I like that.
Another thing to remember is, because see, ultimately what we want is is to communicate with these energies, right? And once I was sitting on meditation and I said, well, I really want to connect to these beings uh, in love, and I want to feel. And some voice asked me, let me ask you, how is your communication with the people you interact with every day? Is it loving? Is it harmonious? Are you being clear about you, who you are with others? Because you want all these clear messages to come through you from these higher vibrational beings, but are you being clear to other people? Are you actually being a good communicator to others? Are you everything that comes through your mouth is a loving thing? So that's also very important to remember, because if we want to connect, to communicate with other energies, we gotta make sure that we practice that first. So
Right.
then that can be a consequence, a result of, because it's easy to say, okay, no, I'm gonna sit on meditation and I'm gonna connect to these higher vibrational beings, but then out in the outside, you are like dogs and cats, and we're just, you know, not able to actually speak clearly to others about our intentions and things that we, want. So,
So as you can see, there are so many prerequisites before
yeah,
we do this type of work. And why is important? Because, well, also other than setting you free, it's about having fun. So also make sure that in your intention is that intention to have fun with it too. There's nothing worse than spending an hour with a straight face. There's nothing fun about that. So make it fun, and if that means you drawing a smile on your face, draw a smile. Eventually, it'll go away once you are connected. You'll see that in that connection into samadhi is like pure neutrality. So the smile
Yeah.
will go
Right.
away. But at least in the beginning, it sets you in this emotion of joy. So yes, there is preparation to do this amazing work, because it is an amazing work, but it does take time to set the right intention, emotion, mindset, state of being, and it's
But the
one
whole process can be fun, and that's what you're saying here. It should be a fun process.
should be
Yeah.
a fun process.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
And it also, the process must be organic and expansive. What that means? Organic means not to put so much pressure in yourself on, am I connecting? Am I doing? Am I? Is it this? Is it real? Is it not? Just again, and we're gonna keep saying it just so it's very clear. Feel good. Focus on feeling good. That's the organic part. Feeling good, because when you try to mentally connect and establish connection, that's not being organic. Organic means, am I feeling good? That's organic. From that, you expand. That's why they told me it has to be organic and expansive. And organic is the not judgmental part, saying, um, putting any pressure on myself if I'm not really getting anything, to feel frustrated. No, just feel good. Just feel good. And the more you feel good, the more that connection, it starts to expand. And then you're like, oh, this is where the connection happens. It's me. I am the connection. And then the the information is limitless. Then you can connect to anything, because you feel good. You're vibrating high.
And as you practice this process, you get better and better at
of course,
just accessing that state. Yeah. And the message probably just comes through faster and clearer. I'm
yeah,
assuming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. Again, it's a skill. It's not, I mean, at least that's how we see it. Uh, can, can this happen for you in half of the time? Of course it can, or maybe twice as long. I don't know. But in our experience, the reason why we love doing it is not for the information we retrieve, it's because we feel great after. To me, that's the bottom
Yeah.
line.
During.
And during,
So we feel
I
good.
mean, not just after, I mean, like during the process, we get to this state of like joy. So, whether I retrieve information or not, which we always do, always, the secret is to have fun with it, to feel good about it. Then that's where all the information that you're looking for is and exists. You just align to it. But another thing that I wanted to mention is just to bring back originally what he said about the information really coming from you, and when you trust that no matter what you retrieve, whether it's from your Arcturian aspect or to your ascended master aspect or a fractal that you are, and you share with, is always you. It's that beauty to recognize you as the divine information. So it's so important, man. So important that you also give yourself the credit you deserve and say, I'm getting this information from here, from right here,
Yeah.
not from here, not from right here.
Yeah. And you need to be very observative, just to contemplate while you're in meditation, just contemplate yourself, not visualize an Arcturian, not visualize a Pleiadian, no. Contemplate yourself. And once you contemplate yourself, then the next thing is non-resistance. So contemplation and non-resistance are essential. Again, because at that moment there is no pressure. We need to take the pressure off the equation. We need to take the doubt of the equation. There are so many things that we do not need that will arise at that moment. Pressure, self-judgment, questioning, doubt, all these things, even fear. You know? Am I actually connecting to a higher vibrational energy? Am I connecting to something that is not of uh, a higher frequency? So observation, just observe yourself. Don't judge it. Just observe it. What's going on? It doesn't matter what it looks like. Just be an observer at that moment and don't resist. If you actually happen to see something you don't like, observe it. There is there for a reason. Maybe you need to make peace with that aspect
Right.
to before you move on to the next chapter, because sometimes there is something that maybe some fear that we don't really want to face, but to let go or to make peace with that may allow us to actually connect after.
Hmm.
So anything that we look at, that we perceive, once we become the observer, and if it's there, just, and sometimes it's not easy, but say, I honor you for being here. Thank you. I make peace. I am at peace with you. And see, and we start making peace and feeling good and feeling more good. And then and not being resistant. Then we keep expanding every time.
Yeah, it's almost like letting go of what we think we want. Because sometimes we may go in there thinking that we're going to get some sort of answer, but then the answer shows up completely different and it's not what we expect. So that's what I took from that. And that's really powerful because it might not be pleasant. Or maybe we received something. It's like, oh, I didn't expect that. That's not what I wanted. But
Which is always the case, man.
like you said,
Every time I sit
Yeah.
on meditation, we sit on meditation, I think we both agree, it's so unexpected. Like we can go with an intention, it's so clear that all of a sudden the information that we need the most at that moment for our next step of evolution just comes through. So, sometimes no matter how clear the intention is, the real secret is, like he says, to feel good, because in that feeling good and being present, that's just the perfect formula for inspiration. And when you are inspired, you really get the information that you need at this moment.
Yeah.
Sometimes we think we need some sort of information, and we don't. I mean, we do, and we probably get it anyway. But we also get the information that is relevant today for us at this moment to advance to where we want to go next, whatever that is. Is whatever is aligned with the highest experience for us on earth. But the formula is that be present, feel good. That's a perfect formula for you to be inspired, to align to the highest information
Yeah.
you need.
Actually, once I was like feeling good, and all these things that we've talked about, and then this question came up to me and said, "There is a feeling of loneliness within you. Would you like to talk about it?" I was like, not really, but like, why? I mean, where does this feeling of loneliness come from? I asked because I heard a voice saying that. That's not what I want to hear, right? That I feel lonely, and they said this feeling comes from uh, from the feeling that there is something or someone outside of you that is going to fulfill that void. From the waiting for the answer to your loneliness, from the need to connect with aliens or high vibrational energies that will give you the guidance to keep going. You know, so I felt in a way so lonely that I wanted to connect to something outside of me to fill that void. You know, so did I expect to receive this type of information? No, but at least I became aware. So that's when I realized that yeah, I was feeling empty at some point. So I needed to fill that void with a connection to something that I thought it would give me the guidance to fill that void, to give me that answer of feeling lonely, to feel connected to something so beautiful outside of me that I would feel special about myself, you know?
So this answer gave you awareness of this part of you that was down there.
Right.
And then were you able to then make peace and
Of
acknowledge and
course, that's when I
yeah.
realized that I didn't need to connect
Right.
to anything outside of me to feel any void, So I needed to first work on feeling good, you know?
Yeah.
And just like this, I mean,
Oh yeah, I mean, like a lot of things come through. Like sometimes, um, when you are all happy that you're gonna connect and you're gonna, do all these uh, things come through. Like, okay, so the question is, are you giving permission? Are you giving yourself permission to do it? I was like, yeah, of course. And then are you giving permission to maybe question yourself sometimes of what you're doing? Are you giving permission to this? So it's sometimes about giving yourself permission to do the work, because sometimes we don't even feel worthy that we can actually retrieve this type of information. So give yourself permission, to do all these things and to make mistakes, because in the end there's no mistakes. Everything that you do is perfect. It's part of the process. So sometimes, and the reason why we ask guidance is like we're asking for eternal permission before we do everything, and the permission needs to come from us. So sometimes it's important and a reminder that we actually need to state. I sometimes need to state it. I give myself permission for this. Like it's 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 about me. So and all these things came about giving myself permission to do all these things, and I didn't know. I wasn't allowing myself to do all these things until I have to decree that I was giving myself the permission to do this, and so many things that I apparently wasn't allowing myself, that I didn't feel worthy of the permission, because in the end, who was validating me? Like, who am I? So it's important. The self-validation comes with the right permissions from you. So you know what? Yes, go ahead. And if you have to state it yourself, yeah, of course.
yeah,
And not you,
go
like anybody. I give myself the permission to do this work, to channel the information, to retrieve the information,
to
to
validate
connect,
yourself.
to validate yourself.
Yeah, yeah. Another next thing to always take into consideration is to never wait for the answer.
Mm.
Obviously, when you're trying to connect, you're waiting for answers, right? And you keep waiting, and what they told, when I say they, I'm just referring to what happened. Said
Yeah.
simple act of waiting for the answer every time makes you feel like you don't have it, therefore making you feel empty or frustrated or disappointed. So the more you keep waiting for the answer, the more you disconnect from your heart, from feeling good. you know so instead of, yes, you have the intention, don't wait for the answer, just keep
Keep enjoying yourself.
enjoying in yourself.
Like,
It's, again, it's all about feeling good, because waiting for the answer is like you like, so I'm not receiving anything. It's like thinking that answer doesn't exist inside you.
Yeah, it's like implying that you need something. It's like, yeah, I need an answer. Yeah,
Right? So don't
right.
wait for the answer. I mean, because it can be frustrating to be just sitting there. It's like I don't get an answer. I'm not hearing anything. I'm not feeling anything. I'm not seeing anything. I'm not smelling anything. Is there even an answer? And then you just this doesn't work. No, it's all about feeling good. No?
Makes sense.
Amazing how, like, no matter how much I have written, in the end, the moral of the whole transmission was to feel good. It always comes down to that, just feel good and trust yourself, and allow the information that come through when it comes through, and that's
Yeah.
it, with no
And
judgment.
another thing that I also I think is important, if you want to know, let's say, about quantum mechanics and the theory of relativity and things that you are just so not aware of, you will set yourself for like failure, because you should be answering questions that suit your level of understanding.
Right.
Because
Good point.
if you start asking for things that, what does how do black holes work, you might, it might take you a while to realize how they work. I'm not saying that you cannot receive that information. Is your level of understanding there? Because if it's not, take it like a practice of, it's a process. You know, ans- ask things or set intentions that when you answer, when you receive this information, it's suitable to your level of understanding and level of awareness and level of consciousness. You know, because it's easy. I mean, again, there has been times where people have connected to this source of infinite knowledge, and yeah, they have received all this crazy information. I've read these books, and I'm like, I want to connect like that. I want to get that type of information. Well, these are scientists. These are people
Mm.
that have dedicated their lives to studying that. Okay, so you have to also know that, not that there are limits to what you can receive, but it's a commitment. I mean, how much are you dedicating your life to certain things that you want to improve on, with extra information that might not be available in books, things like of that nature. And during that process, you'll realize that eventually you'll start getting things that you had no idea you understood. But once you start being a good communicator to others, once you start being a good friend to others, once you start feeling good, you start receiving more clear information, and the communication starts to be also more open and to expand. It's just it's a process. It's not an event.
Yeah, right. And just to go back to the meditative aspect of it, was there a specific type of meditation that you guys are doing for this? Is it more just going inward, closing your eyes, and just getting into that feel good state? Or are you playing music? Are you listening to anything, or just
I mean, like
as
right now,
simple as possible?
some
Some
background
background
music.
music.
Sure. Like, I honestly don't need it.
Don't
But
think it's so hard, man.
no, it's not.
It's,
It's not such a, like a,
yeah,
it's not
it's not
rocket science either.
science.
You know,
It's
in
feel good. It's just feel good.
yeah,
Like, I
Yeah.
promise, the more simple you make it about, the more simple it will become also. But if we think that is so intricate and so complicated and complex, and you need to have these skills, you don't. You're always channeling. You are a channel already. It's
that's why I
just
said in the beginning that
doing it with
meditation,
awareness.
yeah, is a practice of self-love. Because even the connotation that the word meditation has is like difficult. Like, I can't concentrate. I don't have the patience to do it. I don't have the time to do it. So it means a lot of things. When I used to hear meditation, I was like terrified. Like, no, no, that means I need to become a monk. I need to go to the Tibet. No. That's why I never even refer to it like that anymore. To me, it's just a practice of self-love, and it just sets you on a different mood to say, you know what, I could use some love. So let me just sit quietly in my own terms, without judgment, and enjoy some background music, uh, burn some incense, and just be there, just be there and smile. And like he said, make it simple, make it a simple practice, because in that simplicity there is so much complexity. I promise. Like I have received crazy information from just being there. You just have to be there, but you have to be present. And being present sometimes is not easy, because all of a sudden you find yourself wondering and thinking about your ex, and the girl you want to hook up with. Realistically, you will find yourself, and you just have to have the ability to come back to this moment. And to me, to come back means I visualize myself the way I'm sitting, like, oh, I can see myself, like, okay, I'm back, and I say it, I'm back. So make it a simple practice, and remember that every answer that you are looking for, you are not looking for an answer, because, like he said, thinking that you're looking for an answer means that you don't have it. So and you do have it. So that's why make it a simple practice, and know that the message you're looking for is you are the message.
You're the
So
messenger
just
too.
and you are the messenger, so just listen to what you have to say.
In the way you say it.
In the
Don't make
Yeah,
it try to look so
romantic or poetic.
or poetically sounding, because we think that if it doesn't sound different than us, then it's not us.
Or is not valid.
If it doesn't sound like a deep voice, then it's not us. No, no, it is you. It's still you.
Yeah.
It's your voice. So be it. It's a big deal. It's your voice. I mean, have I heard women's voices, like deep voices? I've heard voices, but when I hear my own voice, I'm just as happy, because it's still,
Right.
you
Yeah.
know, I'm still channeling information that's within. And, there was a time that, let's say I would ask a question and there would be a delay on the answer. And so I ask, why does it feel a delay between the question and the answer? And the answer was, because that's the way you believe it should be. But the more you trust the information, that all the information is already there for you to access, the more you will access it quicker, to the point that you won't even have to close your eyes, and you will simply tap into it. So that's why I'm telling you, don't not try to make it so complicated, so you believe that it's such an complex process. But the more that the more you trust, the more you will be able to just simply tap into that information at will.
Well,
Really?
that's powerful. That's powerful. And when you think about what you were saying before, it's like where we access this channeled state when, we're in that flow state. So when sometimes someone's playing sport or in their artistic expression, but now to be able to tap into this level of, transmission at will holds so much, benefit to whatever it is that we're doing, whatever situation we're in. I'm just realizing how potent this skill is once it's cultivated and nurtured. So yeah.
It's a practice. Because when I
Mm.
say skill, yeah, I make it sound like it's like learning taekwondo, and it's not. I mean, it's something that you can actually learn fairly quickly, and it does take dedication, of course,
Commitment.
commitment, and it takes a smile. So, on December 3rd, 2020, I wrote this, because we write too. We
Right.
start meditating, and I just take my pen and we start writing. I always sit on meditation patiently to receive a new message. I close my eyes and I ask myself the question, what's the message today? Tonight, I ask myself the same question, and after a few minutes, I heard my own voice saying, I am the message. I contemplated this realization with a smile until I asked myself again, but what kind of message am I? I immediately heard my voice saying again, I am the message of love. And I kind of keep expanding, but the moral of this is like, it doesn't matter what the message is. When you recognize yourself as the message and as the messenger of love, it doesn't matter what comes through. It's what you need to know at this moment that is relevant to your own unique process. So that's why it doesn't really matter what the intention is. Oh, I need to know this, I need to know that. No, no. As long as you recognize yourself and acknowledge yourself as the message, but also as the messenger of love, the right message will come through, in the form of a loving understanding, unique to you.
Hmm.
So that's the best way I can make it simple for people not to be afraid to connect
To
to
try.
yourself, because it doesn't matter what message you get. It's how you see yourself first. That's why all these prerequisites to feel good, because feeling great, feeling amazing connects you to gratitude, and from gratitude to love. And once you are in this loving state, I trust that the information that will come through is going to be loving and is going to be relevant. So
And it just makes it, when you make it as simple as possible, that's when you're more likely to follow through and
yeah,
continue the process, right?
of course. So, and then I said, I smile with the knowing that the message, no matter what that could be, it had to be of love. Anyway, so I just kept going, but it refers to that, to just to feeling that easiness of this flowing process, that it should be simple. It really should,
Yeah.
and it is.
And you can have this dialogue with yourself, essentially,
Oh,
where you
oh
can, yeah, continue the conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, sometimes, actually not sometimes, on Mondays, I always sit with my notebook and a pen, and at the moment I close my eyes, I do a few take a few deep breaths, and I just go into just feeling good, and I simply just take my pen and start writing. Whatever comes out at that moment, it turns out to be something that I really needed to listen to.
Hmm.
It's crazy, you know. And while you're writing, at the end, I have been getting names like your Arturian brothers, or Akara, uh, initiate of the ISIS, something like, actually I hear names of the energies that dictated that message, or that maybe I'm making it up. Who knows? But it's always different.
Mm.
No? It's always a different energy, and it feels different when you write. It actually feels different. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
sometimes I felt my own mother dictating me a letter that I needed to hear, and I didn't like it. And I didn't like it because the way she was speaking to me, it was in a way that, I thought she was gonna say things like "I'm with you," "I love you," and it was the complete opposite. It was things like, you don't need to do these rituals to connect with me unless you think we're disconnected, and that
Mm.
you actually need to set a time to connect with me. Like, understand that I live within you, and that I'm not that picture anymore that you put there as my image. That's not me anymore. So the more you connect to that image, the more you make yourself feel bad and suffer and miss me, recognize me as part of you. And it started to speak to me in such a neutral way that I was like, well, this is not what I wanted to hear, but
Mm.
it's certainly what I needed to hear.
Right.
No?
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, it's no matter what you want to connect with, the moment you connect to your heart, you will connect to the energy that it's suitable at that moment to connect back with you, or that
Right.
aspect that exists within you, whether it's galactic, angelic, a god, a goddess, a deity. Uh, it's always available. Mm.
Yeah. And the right message will come through. That's what I'm taking from you. Will receive exactly what it is that you need to receive.
Right.
And there's
So,
no need to question it. Yeah.
level of understanding. Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful. Guys, you've given some really concrete steps here, and I've been making note of this because it's now just very clear and very simple, and I'm really looking forward to just like putting this into practice. Is there anything else that you feel like you want to leave people with? If someone's wants to go out and start to practice this skill, have we covered all the main things, or is
Just do it.
yeah,
do it.
yeah,
And be very aware that just because we shared our way to do it, that doesn't mean it's the only way. Even if you don't do anything of what we just said, the fact that that you're convinced that you can do this on your own, in your own very
Terms.
unique way, in your own terms, and sit with that certainty and trust, you might not even go through any of what we just said. you just have to do it. I mean, you just have to break free from thinking you need to learn how to do it. Not you or anyone listening, because sometimes we think, how do I do this? How do I like believing they don't have it within already? Know that you are the
Yeah.
channel, and all you have to do is do it consciously, because you are channeling every day. At every second, you are channeling something. So you just might as well do it with intention, just like breathing. It feels different. The breath comes up in and out differently. The same as the message. When you do it consciously, it comes in and out differently than if you're just unconsciously doing it.
Yeah. And just want to say thank you for sharing all this. Like, I know you guys have you've spent a lot of time refining, but not even refining. You've just asked the question, what is the process? And is there going to be more information? I mean, if someone wants to get more information from you guys, have you put this together in a like a guide or anything yet? Or
no, but this is actually the first.
Yeah,
the first one. There we go.
Time.
Yeah, and probably the most relevant. The information won't change how to prepare, like we just have said it. I think it's very relevant at any level. So that won't change, but we can add to it later if someone has more questions. Of course, we can expand on their very unique.
There is nothing written. Like I said, we wanted to make a video. So this is the first video we make. So it's good. It's a great start, because we're finally getting to it, and I'm glad it took you to reach out for us to finally do it. So this is the first time. If after here, we might write a blog about it. I don't think another video would be necessary, but maybe a video with more of
step 1, 2, 3, 4.
Or you like if you have this video, maybe I even do it while as we speak. We're gonna do some notations there, like some notes, so people know that that's important, or that's part of the list, or that's part of preparation, stuff like that. But no, this is
Well, I'm excited to get the information out there, and looking forward to getting some feedback from people who can actually put this into practice. And I know, where can people find you online? I know you guys are quite busy at the moment. Yeah, Starseed Twins on Instagram, and
on starseedtwins.com
website. Yeah,
right.
And starseedtwins@gmail.com.
That's our email.
That's our email for this, and
that's probably the fastest.
Instagram as well. I mean,
yeah, amazing.
For us, like most, the fastest way to connect with us is through Gmail, through email. I mean, we take that as a priority. We believe it's more formal than someone reaching on Instagram.
Right.
Gotcha. So. Yeah. Well, I'll put all that information in the description, the show description, and if anyone has any more questions, they can shoot you an email. But guys, I'm respectful of your time. It's starting to get late out there in Miami, but I just wanted to say, hey, thank you so much for coming on here and sharing all that, because that was immensely valuable for me, and I know it is for anyone else who's listened to this and is ready to start to access some of this information and realize the potential that's already inside of them. So thanks again for coming on here and sharing all that, and it's an honor to be the space for this to unfold.
No, thank you, man. Thank you once again. Yeah, we will see you soon here in Miami whenever you can. We can come over.
Or we'll be in Australia soon.
Or we'll be in Australia. Man, we're dying to go to Australia.
Yeah.
It's happening. Cheers, guys.
We're excited.
Right, have a good night, man.
Namaste, man.